Hey everyone! Before we get into the video, I want to do a quick introduction. So this video was filmed before the College Board announcement that the SAT essay would be discontinued after the June 2021 administration. But because the SAT essay will be optional through the June 2021 administration, and because some school day administrations in some states will continue to require the essay even beyond the June administration, we decided to post this video anyway. So hope it's helpful to you, but if not, we have plenty of other videos on the other sections on the SAT. With that said, on to the video. Hi, I'm Erica, the Senior SAT and ACT Curriculum Manager here at Magoosh. The SAT essay is the most mysterious section on the SAT. It's ignored by a lot of test prep companies, and there isn't as much information out there as there is about reading, writing, or the math sections. So I end up with a lot of questions about it. In this video, I'm going to take the mystery out of the SAT essay by answering whether or not you should take the SAT essay, explaining why the SAT essay is important but not that important, explaining what score you and most test takers should be aiming for, going over which dimension of that score most test takers fail, and giving you 4 study steps to make sure you get a score that any school would be happy with. First up, should you take the SAT essay? The SAT essay is optional, but it may not be optional for you. Many schools, programs, scholarships require the SAT essay. So unless you have a finalized list of schools, programs, scholarships, etc., and know that none of them require the SAT essay, you should take that essay just in case. There's nothing worse than getting the SAT score you want and then having to retake the whole test just for the essay. So why do these schools, programs, and scholarships require the SAT essay? Most of these applications have an admissions essay component. Isn't that enough? Well, actually, that admissions essay is part of the reason why that SAT essay may be required. They want to make sure it was actually you that wrote the admissions essay. While it is possible to get someone to take the SAT for you, it is not particularly easy, at least not as easy as getting someone to write your admissions essay for you. So by requiring the SAT essay, admissions committees have a second writing sample that they're more certain is you, that they can then compare against your admissions essays to see if conceivably the same person wrote it. Now, it's worth noting that they know the SAT essay is timed. They know you don't have as many resources. They know you don't have spell check. So if you're concerned that it won't be as good as your admissions essays, don't worry about it. They know that it won't. As long as you wrote both of them and you didn't have a very heavy-handed editor on your admissions essays, you should be good to go. The second aspect of the SAT essay is about meeting basic writing benchmarks. So while the admissions essays are more about your ability to craft a story and tell the admissions committee about you and what you bring to campus, this essay is basically pass-fail on whether or not you are an effective writer. So with that in mind, let's move on to the scoring of the essay. Scoring on the SAT essay has 3 dimensions: reading, analysis, and writing. 2 graders are going to give you a score from 1 to 4 on each section, where a 3 is basically the meets expectations score. So then scores for each section are added together to give a total score between 2 and 8 on each section. Now, if your graders' score for a section are more than a point apart, that indicates there's a problem, and they'll bring in another grader to resolve the discrepancy. So if you got a 7 on reading, that means that one of your graders gave you a 3 and one of your graders gave you a 4. There is no other way to make that score. If you got a 4 on analysis, that means that both of your graders gave you a 2. So this is basically pass-fail, where pass is meets expectations and fail is below expectations. So that means in almost all cases, test takers should shoot for at least a 6 in each section, because it means both graders think you meet expectations across all 3 dimensions. Now, a word to all the perfectionists out there, a 6 is not going to keep you out of any school. So that means if you have a 6 in each dimension, you shouldn't work on improving your essay score unless you have perfect scores on the other sections, where incremental improvements are going to matter a lot more. And even then, it's probably going to give you more benefit to focus on other elements of your application, like, say, your admissions essays. So how hard is it to get 6s across the board? Well, let's look at some data. In reading, the average score is a 5. In writing, the average score is also a 5. In analysis, the average score is a 3. And again, that's total score. So that's the sum of 2 graders' scores. So that means one grader gave you a 1 and one grader gave you a 2. Yikes. So it turns out that it's actually pretty uncommon for students to get 6s across the board. So it's worth taking the time to prepare, especially in the analysis dimension. So how can you study for your SAT essay before test day to ensure you get that score you're looking for? Let's talk through 4 study steps. Step number 1 is to look at the actual scoring standards for each dimension on the test. A great place to do this is on the College Board website, where they enumerate what exactly will get you a 4, what'll get you a 3, what'll get you a 2, and what'll get you a 1 on reading, writing, and analysis. Step number 2 is to look at how real SAT essays are scored. This is again something that you can do on the College Board website. One of my favorite things to share with my students preparing for their SAT essays are these 2 prompts, which have sample essays written for each of them. And then for each of those sample essays, they give the scoring and then the reasoning for why those scores were given. This is an incredible resource for figuring out how those scoring standards apply to actual writing. Step number 3 is to take what you learned in steps number 1 and 2 to build a template for your essay that you can use on test day. Templating is a way to think about your essay in advance of your test day to prioritize what matters on the essay and what doesn't. So for instance, you'll notice that top scoring essays feature pretty short introductions and conclusions, but they always feature introductions and conclusions. You should mirror this in your template. Similarly, you'll notice that each paragraph features 1, maybe 2 examples, but that they go deep into depth on the analysis of each of those examples. Again, this is how you get that high analysis score, the tricky one to get. Once you've got your template locked in, you're ready for step 4, which is to practice both untimed and timed. The untimed practice is meant to help make sure that you can apply your template to any passage that's thrown at you. And then once you're confident in using your template, then you want to do it timed to make sure you can do it fast. A great way of doing this is to take your SAT essay with the rest of your practice tests. Now, this ensures not only that you're practicing timed, but that you're also dealing with the constraint of taking your essay at the end of your test. So that adds an endurance element that you'll be facing on your test day. Taking these steps ensures that you're leaving as little up to chance as possible for your SAT essay on test day. And that's our guide to the SAT essay. Hope you're feeling less mystified. Now, we didn't get super into depth on a template for the SAT essay, so let me know in the comments if you'd like a template for exactly how to structure your SAT essay, no matter what prompt you receive. To stay updated with all of our upcoming videos and live streams, like this video and hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave us a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.